should have done. He shouldn't be nowhere out trying to tell anybody nothing for the things that he has done. So if it takes us to do what we have to do, we're gonna do it. We're gonna win. We're already winning. We ain't gonna let nobody stop us. We're gonna keep fighting until something is done. Because this is our territory. How dare he come in our area and plant what he wanna put there? He should have sent a letter to us and said, what do you feel about it? We got kids, we got aunts, we got uncles, we got a whole lot of children out there. And we don't want them to be sick. We want them to be well so we can enjoy life with them. Kiss them and hug them and know that they're there for us and help us when we get older. So we asking right now that everybody join in, do something about it. We're gonna kick his butt out of here. He don't need to be here. It's our time. Don't give up. Keep fighting, because we got it. What we got to do is go and claim it. We got to claim everything that we want. Sometimes they think because they got money or what it may be, they can do whatever they want. No, you ain't doing what you want. It's our time, and we're going to get what we want because it's our territory. We live there. Those are our children, our aunts, whoever it may be. So you better look out because the cop is coming to pick you up.
Y'all make some noise for Miss Patricia Ross!
All right, so on that note, our next speaker is a third-generation Brooklynite activist and the Democratic nominee for City Council District 36. He has been deeply involved in the struggle for racial, social, and environmental justice.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Can we give it up for the organizers here? Sane Energy. Yeah. No Brooklyn Pipeline.
Yeah.
I didn't write anything today because I'm pissed off. You know when you're so angry you can't really do anything because you're just angry and you're feeling the emotions. You can't move and you can't write and you can't think. That's how I feel. I remember the first time I came out to protest this bullshit pipeline, and it was in September. Yeah. Way late compared to the organizers that were there years before me. National Grid has some nerve to build a pipeline on stolen land.
Yeah. Talk about it.
This exemplifies the horrors that is late-stage capitalism, the horrors that is colonialism, the horrors of oppression that is exhibited on our land from white oppressive structures. National Grid, how dare you? Enough is enough. And I'm saying this as someone that's about to join the system because enough is enough. Not only do we need an inside-outside strategy on taking this down, but we need to tell Cuomo, instead of preying on women, protect our earth, protect our land, protect the stolen land that has been taken from indigenous people. I thank all the organizers that have congregated us today, that have organized to make this fight as strong as it is. But we have a lot more fight in us, and I know you have a lot more fight in you. Cuomo, before you resign, before you're impeached, do one thing right within your administration. Get the frack out of New York City. Get the frack out of Brooklyn. Yeah. It is time to invest in public power. It is time to advocate for public power on all levels of government. That's what I am dedicated to doing. That's what these elected officials in front of me are dedicated to doing, because we know, you know, we all know that enough is enough. Thank you. Yeah.
Make some noise for Chiose!
Yeah.
Alright, I'm very, very excited to introduce our next speaker. Next speaker is a friend, a mentor, an older brother figure, and a neighbor to both me and Ade. Gabriel Jameson. Gabriel Jameson is a community organizer standing for sustainable love. And I'll tell you that Gabe can explain what sustainable love means to you all. He's advocating for sustainable love in the neighborhood he was born and raised in, Brownsville, which is the first phase of the North Brooklyn Pipeline. He's a graduate student for Sustainable Development and a founding member of Brownsville Residents Green Committee. Y'all make some noise for Gabriel.
Let's start off with some chants. When I say Brooklyn, you say Brownsville. Brooklyn! Brownsville! Brooklyn! Brownsville! Brooklyn! Brownsville! Brooklyn! Brownsville! Thank you all.
You bet start next.
Hi everyone, thank you for coming out today, and thank you for coming out today against North Brooklyn Pipeline. My name is Gabriel Jameson. I'm here as a representative of Brownsville Resident Green Committee and the greater Brownsville community of North Brooklyn. I'm here to speak for those who cannot share their voices, whom environment has limited their ability to speak, whether they are overworked, underpaid, or incarcerated. I am also here to advocate for sustainable love, a conscious practice for radical empathy for fighting for environmental justice. I'm going to say it in a minute. One of our goals at Brownsville Resident Green Committee is to reform the understanding of sustainability and environmental justice as it inherently ties to racial and economic justice. As Brownsville is a majority Black and brown community where many of the residents are low income that live in public housing, there are a number of factors that can factor in There are a number of factors that make Brownsville a hazardous environment for its own residents, such as health hazards, such as low quality air, like Ade was talking about asthma, no trees, all of those other things. This inequality housing, structural discrimination, such as lack of access to health care, quality education, and healthy food. And a social stigma that plagues Brownsville as the most poorest, dangerous neighborhood. Rather than invest in Brownsville schools, businesses, housing, public spaces, the city invests in policing and harmful infrastructures like the North Brooklyn Pipeline. Our fight for environmental justice goes beyond the call of ending frack gas. Our community in Brownsville demands power and dignity to transform its own community. Moving forward, we call upon New York City government to choose people over power. People over profit. Currently, the city and NYPD are in line with National Grid Corporation to seek to exploit poor people. We can see this happening all over the country as we stand in solidarity with the water protectors in Line 3 and the Methven Pipeline. It is obvious in these three fights that environmental justice is a tool to use for racism. The fight for environmental justice cannot be successful without racial justice. As a Brownsville native, I ask everyone to listen today and use their voice to advocate for the voiceless and call upon New York City to invest in sustainable love and transformative healing. So I'm going to tell you what sustainable love is. This is our version of a Green New Deal. Sustainable love is investment. When someone tells you that they love you, they have to invest in these things, these three things, these four things. The first one is education, because you cannot go nowhere without education. It doesn't matter if you go to college or trade school, you have to get education. The second thing is job, vocation. After vocation, it's ownership. You have to own your community. After you own it, you pass it down to the next generation. It's called legacy, love. So when you spell love backwards, we spell love all together, L-O-V. That's it for legacy, ownership, vocation, education. Okay. Those are the sustainable pillars that's going to build a successful community. Thank you all.
Yeah.
Now our next speaker is a strong supporter of tenants' rights, criminal justice reform, equal protection for women, and immigration justice. She was the youngest woman to be elected to New York State
you know, this is such a beautiful crowd here today. And I know so many of you have been a part of this fight from the beginning. For years now, we've been fighting against this pipeline that's going through our neighborhoods. But I want to just say a little bit for anyone here outside of Borough Hall who may be hearing about this pipeline for the very first time. Just a little bit about this. A few years ago, National Grid began to expand a fracked gas pipeline through our neighborhoods in Bed-Stuy and Brownsville. They did not tell the community what they were doing. They did not ask for permission. They just went ahead and started to build this underneath our feet. And so then they didn't stop. By about 2019, 2020, they're continuing construction of this pipeline through Bushwick, right? And the goal is for them to build this pipeline it's their goal, National Grid's goal is to build this pipeline all the way through North Brooklyn.
No more toxic infrastructure.
That's right. We don't need any more toxic infrastructure. In 2019, we passed at the state level legislation that is supposed to set ambitious but completely necessary, urgent climate justice goals for our state. That means starting to transition completely away from fossil fuels. It doesn't make any sense to make that commitment to say this is what we're going to do and then continue to build fossil fuel infrastructure. That's right. Why would we do that, right? It'll become what's called a stranded asset. It's worse than useless. It hurts our people, and we're not going to tolerate it. And so that is why we have been in this fight to stop the pipeline. What we need all of you to do, now that you know about this, is join us. Join this movement to stop the North Brooklyn pipeline, and even further, systemically, we need to fight for public power. It would be enough for this to be about North Brooklyn, for this to be about Brooklyn, but it is a fight that is even bigger than Brooklyn. And companies, corporations like National Grid, as long as they have a monopoly over our power grid and our energy in our state, in our country, this is going to continue, and it cannot continue. So we're fighting, that's right, we are fighting to end this pipeline, and we are fighting for public power. We are calling on the Public Service Commission at the state level to reject these rate hikes that National Grid wants. As Anna said, on top of all of their crimes against our communities, National Grid also expects us to pay for it. And we're not going to pay for it.
They out of their mind.
Solidarity with all of you for the hundreds of individuals who have chosen to take direct action by participating in this gas strike. Yeah.